There's no easy way out. I just wanna know there's no easy way out. No easy way out. I'm not asking for another chance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony Nash, and we're coming to you as always from the Woodworth Building in beautiful downtown Owasso, home to my company, AZ Business Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. So I'm joined today by a doctor. The doctor is in the house, Dr. Katie O'Neill. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you today. Now, we were trying to reminisce and think. I was actually thinking about this last night, and so were you, about how we officially met.
Yeah.
We both know that it was through a mutual friend, Morgan. It was Morgan Walter. Now it's Morgan.
Still Morgan Walter.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Didn't know that. So I haven't seen her in a while. She was actually my employee. I was running the Comstock, and she was one of the servers at the restaurant, one of the banquet servers. And somehow, some way, we had met through her. I know your dad used to come into the restaurant a lot. I think you came in with him. I think Morgan introduced us.
I probably
Does that
came
sound
in
right?
there to see her while she was working, or
Yeah.
came in with my dad to see her, or something along
That
those
sounds right.
lines.
And you had worked there at
Yeah.
one time, but I think we established that you were there before me.
Probably.
Right? Yeah. I started in 2012. I don't recall you working there, and I feel like if you worked for me, I would remember that.
Probably.
But you would come in and hang out. We'd have fun. We'd talk. We'd laugh. And that's kind of how we got to know each other. And then just, throughout the years, we've kind of seen each other in passing. It's a small community.
Yep.
And then, been watching you kind of go on this entrepreneurial journey through the lens of Facebook or Instagram and social media. And so seeing what you're doing there, and I think it's very, very interesting. Most recently, you've been using our print shop for some merch that has been
Very
very
cool.
popular. Yeah. And
Yeah,
you
that
have
was
a
a
merch
surprise.
store now. And so people can get all your products online. And so pretty cool to see that happening. You got a great logo, so it looks great
Lots
on
of compliments
merchandise.
on those shirts too. Everybody's loved them.
Yeah,
These
they
are
look
my
great.
new favorite sweatshirt.
Yeah,
So.
very cool. So, so that's kind of our professional working relationship right now. And so, I wanted to have you on to introduce you to the community as, the doctor and what you're doing. And there's a lot of maybe controversy surrounding some of the things that you offer, but they're things that are extremely important to you. And I want to give you the opportunity to tell our audience what they are and the benefits of them and why you're so passionate about it. But before we dig into
Yeah.
all that, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, just about Katie?
All right. Well, I'm Dr. Katie O'Neill. I'm the owner of Holistic Beginnings. I also co-own Tox Free Tots with Morgan. I'm a mom. I have 2 little boys.
What are
I'm
their
a
names?
wife, Timothy and Kylo.
Timothy and Kyle. That's a cool name.
Yep. One very original one and one
Yeah.
more unique.
Like Star Wars.
Everybody asks me that, and that's what my husband said. He's like, everybody's going to think that's why we did that. I was like,
Yeah.
I've never actually watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
So no, it was because of the meaning behind it. Keeper of the keys of God
That's
and
cool.
warrior.
Yeah.
So
very
that's
cool.
actually where that came from. But everybody assumes it's Star Wars.
Well, all my boys are named after like prophets in the Bible. So like I have Micah, Isaiah, and Elijah. They all end in AH.
Oh,
And
that's
so
cool.
I wanted to name one of the boys Obadiah. I really liked that name. He was also a prophet. And my wife's like, we can't name him Obadiah. All the kids will call him Obi-Wan. I'm like, that would be awesome. Like, what kid wouldn't want to be called Obi-Wan? She's like, no, we're not doing Obadiah. So that's how we got started. Like, with every kid, I tried Obadiah again. Like, that was the first one I wanted, and I got overruled to Micah, and then I got overruled to Isaiah, which I like all their names, but, like, I really wanted an Obadiah. So
I have a name that I keep trying for too. So I'm not going to say it because I'm going to still keep trying for it, even
Yeah.
though every time it's probably going to
Well, Obadiah is
get
available
shut down.
if you want. So
that's not the one I have in
Not the one
mind.
you had in mind. Okay.
But yeah, mom, own Tox Free Tots with Morgan, Holistic Beginnings. Huge passion for birth, especially natural birth. That's, the hill I'll probably die on. And huge lover of the warmth. I'm itching to get out of
So you love
the
Michigan.
sun today is at least
It's
okay,
giving you some
but
vitamin D.
I need the
giving you
90
life.
degrees on the beach.
That's your thing.
That is my thing.
Well, it's just not Michigan. I hate to say it. I hate the cold too, but I'm not a beach person. Like,
it's my
even if I'm in Florida, I just like, I'll sit by the pool. I just don't like the sand and
You
the whole,
gotta-
But I love the
Nope.
warmth. I love the warmth, and my pale skin needs it. Okay, so let's talk about holistic beginnings. We can talk a little about tox-free tots as well, because they kind of go hand in hand.
They're in the same building too.
Yeah.
Right now.
So tell our audience what it is and what you guys do.
So Holistic Beginnings is a naturopathic, natural health, holistic doctor's office. So people are always like, well, who goes there? You know, what can you do? Anybody can come here. What we do is you typically start with a consultation. That's an hour and a half. So you sit down with myself. We also have Krista who works there, Nola, and Grace. So you'll sit down with somebody, go over your whole health history. And our job is to get to the root cause of your concern. So that can be any diagnosis. That can be just, you know, hey, my brain's foggy, or I just don't feel quite right. And we do blood work. A lot of people have a misconception that it's just this, you know, hippy dippy, we're going to give you some tea and tell you to smell some oils, and that's the end of it.
Sounds fun.
And I mean, that would be fun, but
Yeah.
it's a lot more in depth than that. You know, I've taken functional medicine blood work courses, which I'm sure we'll talk about that later too. But blood work's actually one of my favorites. And I look at it in such a different way that I can find root causes. So naturopathically, we're trained that every symptom, every imbalance, anything we're dealing with that's out of homeostasis or not normal has a root cause.
Yeah.
Everything. People are like, oh, well, I tried this. You know, there's probably not a root cause for that. Everything has a root cause, and that's why we're here, is to help you find that, because then when you resolve that, whether it's a stealthy pathogen, a bacterial imbalance, some leaky gut, which a lot of people are familiar with that term nowadays, it's becoming more popular, you correct that, and then X, Y, Z go away. So as a naturopath, I can't claim that I treat you, diagnose you, cure you of anything, but if you come in and see me with X diagnosis and go, you know, to your medical doctor and they tell you don't have it anymore, then you healed it.
Yeah. And you just kind of put them on the path. You give them some resources. You help them, whether it be change their way of life, their diet.
It's always multifaceted. You
Yeah.
know, we're complex. It's not as simple as just taking a pill and suppressing the symptom, because the symptom
Everything's
is
a pill
communication.
now. Everything's a pill.
Yeah, and it doesn't actually fix your problem.
Yeah.
It masks your symptoms. But symptoms are communicators. We're supposed to listen to those because it's our body asking for help.
Yeah.
Say, hey, this isn't working right.
Right.
We need to do something differently. Again, whether that's a supplement, diet change, trauma work is huge, which most people don't even correlate to their condition. But there's research and studies that traumas and emotions and these terrible things people go through pass down through our DNA. So if great grandma went through something terribly traumatic, your children are still going to be impacted by that.
Yeah.
And that can manifest
Interesting.
into disease.
Wow. Interesting.
It's very complex.
Do you have a solution to weight gain other than going to the gym and eating right? Can we do something besides those two things?
Well, again,
just
depends.
I must
Eating
have
right.
had some trauma in my family that required stress eating, because
Believe it or not, that would actually be a factor.
yeah. No, I have discovered, really, I'm 42 years old. Since I was probably 25 and I stopped being as active. I used to play 4 sports in high school. I didn't have any issues with weight, but 25, married, started having kids. I've always struggled. Like I gain weight. And what I discovered in the last few years is that I am a stress eater. Like when I don't manifest stress the way a lot of people do, like I'm never like strung out. I'm always very upbeat, very positive. But when I'm feeling the stress, I tend to look into the cupboard, into the kitchen for solace.
A lot of people do.
A
lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's usually one extreme or the other. They want everything or they just stop eating altogether.
Yeah. Well, I don't do that. I wish I had the opposite one for a little while. But so how did you come up with the name of this business?
That's a good question. I'm trying to even think back, because it started just a little room in our old house. I actually stole my son's nursery and turned it into a little office.
Yeah.
Because I was just planning on, my husband works full time. I was going to be a stay-at-home mom and just do some of this on the side because it was my passion.
Yeah.
And I loved doing it. My initial intent wasn't to ever have this be this massive business that now I'm, wanting it to grow to be. So I didn't
relate to
have a
that.
name. And then I started seeing clients and the word of mouth just kind of exploded.
You realized there was a market for it.
And then I went up to my school, and we were at what we call a study session. It's just where the students sit with our mentor, and she helps us with business names. So we were just throwing things out, and I'm like, I know I wanted to say something holistic to give people an idea of what I'm doing. And I don't know, we were all just bantering back and forth, and somehow that's what it came to be. I think it was partially because it was my new beginning. You know, this is a totally different life than I ever lived until my son. And
and probably a lot of the people you meet, it's new to them.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of people are just getting very tired of modern medicine. I mean, you know, I think there are some there definitely are some good doctors out there that are truly interested in helping people find cures to their ailments and their issues. But a lot of doctors and medical offices have just become like pill pushers. I mean, like they are incentivized to sell these drugs, and so, you know, you go in and it's just, what prescriptions can we write? And so they get you like, take this for this and that for that. And next thing you know, you're taking all these pills.
It's a domino effect.
All of those things affect your immune system. And, you know, I even limit like taking Tylenol. Like if I have a headache and I can just deal with it, you know, if it's extremely bad, then I'll go get, you know, some Tylenol or something. But I try to avoid those things because your immune system is designed to fight those things. And when you rely on some other type of chemical or drug to do that for you, it weakens the immune system. And you know, my kids, just 4 of my 6 kids just got chicken pox. I haven't even heard of chicken pox forever. I had it when I was little. I kind of forgot that it was even a thing. When I was a kid, they had chicken pox parties.
I had that.
Yeah. So like, it was better for kids, natural immunity, herd immunity. They get it. Bring all the kids over, give them some toys, let them play together. Everyone gets chicken pox, and then we move on. Because the younger they get it, the better it is. The older they get it, the worse it is. And obviously now they have vaccines for that. And our kids have had some vaccines, but that was one of the ones that we just determined our kids are not going to get that one. We've read a lot of bad stuff about that vaccine in particular. And so we decided that we weren't going to do that. Well, somehow recently our kids go to a private school that does not require to have all these vaccinations to come to the school. And so now we have like 15, 20 kids out of 100 kids in the school that have chickenpox party. Yeah. And, you know, it's no big deal. The kids have a few itchy sores for a couple days, take an oatmeal bath, take some calamine lotion, and we move on. But, you know, my wife and my son was having last weekend, he was having like really bad stomach pains, and he said he was having like his heart palpitations. He's 15, so he can kind of communicate what's going on well. And so we gave him some Tums and some Pepto, see what happens with your stomach, and it just wasn't going away. And we tried to feel around, like maybe it was his appendix, and it wasn't that. But I'm like, I think we just need to take him in. It was probably 10, 11 o'clock. Took him into the hospital, and the doctor was like, so has he not had he's not had this vaccine? And my wife's like, no, we decided not to do that. And the doctor was like, well, that's unfortunate, and just got so judgy about it, and then proceeded on this 15-year-old kid to do every test imaginable. I mean, they did an EKG on him, they did a spinal tap, did all these things on him, and my wife didn't know what to say or what to do, and they found out he was dehydrated. Like, they could have probably solved that in a lot of different ways, but because she didn't do this, they wanted to like make sure they test him for every disease ever,
Which just doesn't even make sense, because if you actually research fully, truly, full informed consent research vaccines, they really don't protect you from getting the illness.
From getting it, right.
In the first place.
Yeah.
And they're not lifelong either.
Right. Well, my issue was, it was a choice that we made with our children. Right. We don't judge other people that choose to vaccinate their kids. Right. It's your choice, just like it's mine. I don't even ask people, are your kids? I don't care. It's not my business. And, I'm living life the way I want to. These children are my responsibility. Yep. The thing that bothered me was just the judgment. Like, hey, this is America. Like, this is what we decided to do with our kids, that we don't need this kind of, but that's just kind of the world that we live in right now.
And it's not okay.
It's not. But not okay. I think because of that, because of the medical pressure, even through the pandemic, I mean, they came out with a vaccine in like 9 months, which is insane. And there was a lot of people that were hesitant to take it.
Yeah.
And the judgment that was passed to people for deciding not to do that because of the pressure of the medical professionals, because of the media, because of politicians, it became this whole thing. And so I think that a lot of people are tired of that, which I think means a lot of people are looking for things like what you have to offer, looking for alternative sources.
Which, in the last few months, mostly, I mean, we're getting multiple calls a day for people like, hey, I heard you do this. I'm kind of interested. I don't really understand it. But, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
They're sick and tired of feeling bullied. The number one thing I probably hear when I see clients is thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for actually hearing me. You're not dismissing me. I have hope for the first time.
Yeah.
I get emotional even talking about it because it's actually heartbreaking, or the amount of times people bring in their blood work and I go over that and I'm like, your doctor hasn't said anything to you about this? No. They call me back and tell me everything's perfectly fine. I couldn't tell you the number of times I hear that. Probably every appointment.
Yeah.
Especially with my infertility work, because that's my bread and butter. That's my jam. That is my thing.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little too passionate about that along with birth, but it's absolutely heartbreaking that people don't realize there's this whole other realm called naturopathic medicine out there that can help you.
Yeah.
I have yet to have anybody come to me that I haven't been able to help. And if it was something that they needed that I couldn't source in my office, I know another naturopath that I can send them to, and then they can help them. I have yet to have somebody be like, oh, well, there's nothing in the naturopathic realm to help you. Not yet.
Well, why do you think it is? Why do you think it is that, that doctors are not seeing the things that you're seeing? Is it training? Is it a lack of, is it apathy? Is it?
No, I think it's training, because I can go back to when I was in nursing school. That was my original path was going to be very medical. And towards the end there, when I was getting frustrated, I would go in and ask questions about more outside the box things. I would say, what if I don't give my son this vaccine? What if I'm going to use these home remedies? Because I was just starting to trickle into all of this stuff. And they, nope, you go to the box. You go to the book and you go to the box. It's protocol.
Yeah.
Like it's just a training thing.
Almost mindless.
And I know so many nurses, nurse practitioners who've reached out to me, doctors in the medical field. They're like, you're onto something.
Yeah.
They're like, we want to take training like that. We want to incorporate that into what we're doing, because our skill set and our tools isn't really helping people.
Right.
And it's not. And it's sad because there's nothing woo-woo and hippy-dippy and all the things people say about
labels.
naturopathic medicine. It's original medicine. It's the medicine that God designed. It's provided for us from the earth, most of it. And it helps you truly heal. Like I talk to clients all the time. I'm like, do you know what it feels like to feel great?
Right.
And they just bust out into tears. They're like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
Right.
We would have people would be so much happier and friendlier, and
They were healthy.
yes,
That they felt good.
it would be a totally different world
For
if
sure.
this was utilized first. And I'm not saying modern medicine or medical treatment isn't ever needed, because that's not true.
Right.
I'm super thankful we have it, especially in emergency situations. But when it comes to chronic conditions, taking a pill for the rest of your life that's going to cause symptoms to add another pill, that's going to cause symptoms to add another pill,
Right.
isn't the answer. You need to get to the root of it and heal it.
Well, I would think the majority of people that get into the medical field are doing it because, it is a good living, but I think they probably have a desire to want to help people.
That's why I did it.
Yeah. And so I think that everyone, I would say the majority of people, I think their intentions are right.
100%.
And so, your theory is that they're just maybe not taught. This is, there's just not, the stuff that you're doing is not even given as an option.
No.
And maybe because there's no money in it.
That's true. That's I'm a firm believer that's the reason.
When my parents in December of 2020 got COVID really, really bad. I was kind of one of these people that were like, it's real, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But like most of the people I knew were getting it and they'd be sick for 2 or 3 days and going, about the same as the flu. And, so I'm like, this is a severe case of the flu.
Yep.
And it's serious. We should take it serious. I was all for like practicing distancing if you're sick.
Right.
I was all for, being conscientious of it, being aware of people around you. But there was a lot of the things, the reaction to it that I was just like, that's too much for me. That's too far. Like our response to this is not But the thing that was the most challenging is when my parents got it and they were really, really sick. My mom was sick for 6 weeks.
Oh,
She
wow.
got to a point where she couldn't get out of bed. And there was 2 different times where we took her or my father to the hospital. So I get a call from, my dad. My mom said, hey, they're over there at the house by themselves. Of course, everyone's saying you can't go over there because they're infected and blah, blah, blah. And but I would go over there and check on my parents. Like, if I'm going to get COVID, I'm going to get COVID. That's just how I felt about it. It's my parents. I'm not going to just let them sit over there.
Right.
Well, my dad had passed out. And my mom was like, we need to take him to the ER. He's just not doing good. He's having a hard time breathing. And so I take him to the hospital, and we go in and they test him and like, oh, you have COVID. We got to send you home. There's nothing we can do for you. And they're like, if you're having a hard time breathing, or they gave him an IV and everything, and they gave him, a few breathing treatments. And once they found out he had COVID, we're going to send him home. My mom, same thing. Once they found out she had COVID, send her home. There's nothing we can do for you. There's no treatment for it.
Right.
We called their doctors. We called other doctors. Well, there's really no treatment for it. You just got to stay home. If you feel like you are having a hard time breathing or your lungs, go to the hospital. If you're bad enough, they'll put you in ICU, but there's nothing we can do for you. So after weeks and weeks and weeks of my parents struggling, and I'm thinking, my mom especially, I'm thinking, she's not going to make it through this. She was just getting worse and worse every day. And to be sick for 6 weeks
It's a really long time.
Yeah. And, my dad is the poster child of someone who shouldn't get COVID. He's overweight. He has had diabetes. He's a cancer survivor. So it's all the people they say that shouldn't get it, he, got it. And so we're starting to get worried. And my sister and I just started to do some research, what, and of course we heard about hydroxychloroquine.
Yep.
Couldn't get it anywhere.
Yep.
And then we found out about this thing called ivermectin. And of course you look it up, and of course all the CDC and everything says, dude, this is not a treatment for COVID, blah, blah, blah. So we do some research on it, and it is literally 2 cents a pill.
Yeah.
There's no harmful side effects, 0. It won the Nobel Prize in 2015. It's listed on the World Health Organization as one of the best drugs out there, but nobody wants to recommend it. So my thought is, if there's no harmful side effects, because that's a big thing for me.
Absolutely.
If there's no harmful side effects, then let's try it. We're desperate. My parents are going to die. So we looked for it, couldn't find pill format anywhere. We found it, of all places, at
Tractor
TSC.
Supply.
They had a horse
Yeah.
paste or whatever. And of course, this was before it became national news that
Right.
the crazy people
Right.
were giving their parents horse medicine. But we were just desperate, right? So we're like, this is our parents, And so I said to my sister, I was like, let's just try it. It's not going to hurt them.
Right.
They're already bad. So
Just don't give them the horse dose.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a dosage on there. It goes by weight. They weigh
Yeah.
this much, so we gave it to him. And I'm telling you, Katie, we gave it to him on a Monday. Within hours, my dad called and said, your mom's up cleaning the house. She hasn't got up to do it. I'm like, well, tell her to lay down. She's probably just feeling good. But 48 hours later, they say to do the second dose. We had done some research, give him 1 dose, and then 48 hours later, give him another one. 48 hours later, they were both 80%. And this is after 6 weeks of just constantly getting worse.
And no answers.
And
or
no
help.
answers. Yeah, we would have never done this if we had some answers.
Right.
And we're not, I'm not. Now, my sister's she's fully on the conspiracy train. She jumped off the cliff a long time ago. So she's ready to try everything. And I'm a little more let's find a sensible solution. And I'm telling you, within 4 or 5 days, they were 100%. 100%. And it was amazing, the turnaround. I'm like, holy cow. So then I did a podcast about it with my parents I'm thinking, if I know about this, it would be irresponsible for me not to share it, And again, this was before the media had attacked ivermectin. They weren't talking about it.
No.
So I'm thinking, I'm going to do this good thing and maybe help some people. And that podcast got a lot of views. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me and say they tried it and had the same results. And I say in there, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
I'm not telling you this is the cure, but here's what happened with us. And man, the amount of vitriol I received from that, people just...
That's cool. I missed that one.
But it was, I have to go check it out. But just the temperature of where things are at right now, I think that makes people out there, they're craving for something else. There's got to be some other treatment out there. So I think it's really cool what you're doing. So what do you want people watching this to know about Holistic Beginnings? And why should who should come, give you a visit? Who should come talk to you? What is the person that you're looking for?
Who could benefit from coming? Everybody.
Okay.
I mean, we meet our clients where they're at. So because people will say to me all the time, like, do we have to, go as far out there as you and do home birth and I'm like, I would prefer it. Yeah. But no, we can meet you where you're at. If you're living a totally conventional lifestyle and eating McDonald's 24/7 and drinking zero water and never sleeping and, you're way out there, we're not going to have you doing these wild, crazy things right off the bat.
Right.
We're going to work on start drinking water.
Yeah.
Maybe start eating some real food, do these basic supplements. So anybody would benefit if they're going to be open and willing to do the work, because that's the thing. It's not magic.
Yeah.
I don't just wave a wand
You don't
over
put a
you
spell
and
on them?
No.
Oh,
You have to do the work. We're just there to empower and educate and give you the guidance. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
But my bread and butter, my niche is fertility. That is my pregnancy, birth. We have no support for any of that in our world we're living in. It's a lot of misinformation going on about fertility and pregnancy and birth. And so anybody who's struggling with that, has been struggling with that, you don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars through the medical system. And there's always a root cause, contrary to them saying nothing's wrong.
Right.
I love it. It's so fulfilling. And then watching these couples go through pregnancy and have their baby that they've been longing for so long. It's just the most rewarding thing. So that is my thing, but I have other practitioners in my office that can help you with anything, any concern you're having.
You said that home birth is something that you're very passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people are scared of that
Yeah.
because what if something goes wrong?
Yep.
We had our first child was a full-term stillbirth.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out a day after the due date that the baby's heart stopped beating and her cord had kinked. And when that happens, it's 15 seconds because they're only lungs,
Yep.
and they pass. So, the worry, and then we had our next two children come out with the cord wrapped around their neck. And, one wrong thing could have caused that thing to, choke them. And so there is that concern, I think, with people.
Sure.
If you're not in a hospital with trained doctors to help in a situation like that, what if something goes wrong? What would you say to someone like that?
That's why you have your midwife.
Okay.
You don't have to free birth. You don't have to just do it with you and your partner, your husband, or whoever. Your trained midwife is doing the doctor's job. They're trained in every single thing that doctor is. The only thing the midwife can't do at home is a C-section, which you can see that coming.
Yeah.
With the training, even as a doula, because I'm also a doula, so I go to births to give women support with that. And you can see when things aren't going. They monitor the heart tones. The midwives still do all the testing you can do with your doctor at the hospital through your pregnancy. They meet with you, the exact same things. Yeah, you still do all of that if you choose. It doesn't have to just be this crazy hippy dippy thing.
Yeah.
And they bring Pitocin and stuff. So if you're hemorrhaging or something post-birth, they have the tools to do all of that. They have resuscitation equipment. So if baby's born and not breathing, they do the same resuscitation that you would get done in the hospital. The difference is that stuff's hardly ever needed when you have a home birth.
Yeah. Well, so what is the advantage then of a home birth? Why is one better than the other in your opinion?
In my opinion?
Yeah.
Because you're not intervening. It's the same thing with taking the pharmaceuticals for your symptoms. You're just causing that domino effect.
Yeah.
So we're primal. When you go to give birth, and this is coming from me, I've done both.
Sure.
Right? I've given birth in a hospital with an OB.
Yeah.
And I've given birth at home without a midwife on accident. It was supposed to be a midwife.
So just you and your husband?
Yeah, my doula came in at the last minute to catch the baby.
Oh, man.
It was wild. It was the best thing I've ever done.
That's
But now what was my question?
just your opinion on why home birth
why
is
it's
better.
Because there's no intervention. Our bodies are God's beautiful design to carry these babies and deliver them. And all these problems that you read about, I had to have a C-section, or I hemorrhaged, or this, that, and the other. Okay, when did you go to the hospital? Because right there, that's intervention number one. When you move locations, your nervous system is going to kind of switch into fight or flight because you're no longer in that safe, secure spot of home.
Yeah.
So there's intervention number one, the bright lights, all the strangers. And then these things just pile up, and the more interventions you have, your body's natural processes stop or shift, And then, it's just added. Then you get the epidural, and then the baby's heart rate drops out. Well, the baby's heart rate dropped out because you introduced a foreign medication into the system, and now they're all confused. And then you're strapped down into the bed, which is also not normal physiology. A woman in labor needs to move.
Yeah.
They get their rhythm. I mean, I'm sure you don't just watch home birth videos all the time.
Well,
but
I've witnessed 6 births. Like I was right,
Yeah.
we have 6 children. I was right there for all of them, 4 natural, 2 C-sections.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, like for me, like the thought of not having doctors around me.
Everybody says that.
That would make me a little nervous.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to discredit what you're saying
Yeah.
in any way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for me, like I was zero help. Like I'll hold your hand, I'll help you breathe a little bit, but like I got nothing to get. Like it was the most unreal experience of your life. It's beautiful. I don't cry about anything, but every child,
I love it.
As soon as I saw them, heard them cry, just bust out into tears.
I cry at everybody's birth.
It's the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed in my life.
It's beautiful.
It's just it's incredible. But like, I'm a pretty even-keeled person. But in that moment, like you're feeling the nerves, especially I think with us, what happened with the first one.
For sure.
That traumatic experience. We're 22, 23 years old, had this perfect pregnancy. Everything was right. Everything that the doctor said we should have, it was just a freak thing. It just happened.
Right.
And so to go through that and then just have to deliver an 8-pound, 9-ounce baby, I think it probably added a little extra like
I'm sure.
worry. And so we were like, after that, we're like, Doc, what do we need to do? Like, we're following this by the book. So, I guess like for someone like me, now my wife probably would have been fine with it. And really it would come down to what does she want? Because I learned after the first one, like the guy has very little to do with this. Like our part was super easy and fun. This is really a experience that the mom goes through that a dad can never really understand.
No, you can't.
Or should try.
No.
And so to me, it was like, what hospital do you want to use? What doctor?
Right.
Where do you want to be comfortable? We never really considered home birth, probably because of that reason. So, what do you say to someone like me that's just like, I don't know, it sounds cool, but like for
Interview a
very
home birth
important,
midwife.
Say that again?
Interview a home birth midwife.
Okay.
That's because I have lots of clients. They're like, I trust you and I believe you because I've been working with them for so long and now they're pregnant. Interview that midwife.
Yeah.
Because if she can clear your fears and make you understand, their protocol and their training and everything like that, and that feels good to you, then great.
Yeah.
That's oftentimes the dad's always skeptical. Always. I never met a dad who's just like, yes, home birth,
Because we know we
go.
can't help.
Right.
We know, like, if this goes sour,
Yes.
like, there's nothing. And I think men especially have a hard time when they feel helpless.
Yes.
And that was for me, like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to be responsible for
Yes.
blowing this whole thing.
I want to make sure she's safe and this baby's safe.
Take care of my wife.
Absolutely, which is good because you should. But that interview with that home birth midwife, you'll just know.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to clear your fears or not because, there's good and bad in every profession. So a good home birth midwife is important.
I have friends that have done it. And I have a friend that has 12 kids and she's done all of them.
Oh, I'll for
home.
sure from now on forever have
Yeah.
them at home. It was the best thing ever.
So do you guys recommend, you have midwives that you work with? Someone comes to you, you have midwives that you recommend that you've...
I don't associated with my business, but there's a few around that I've worked with
can
as a
help introduce them
doula.
to the process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I think that, the people I know that have done it have said nothing but great things about it. I haven't heard of a bad experience. Just like for me, I think that would be a tough person. I don't have to worry about anymore. We're not having any more kids. After the last one, I was like, Doc, while you're in there, let's just make sure this never happens again. Because we didn't plan to have 6. No, we love it. We wouldn't change anything, but
I love that.
I don't think we're having any more children. So, but I have kids, that I'm gonna have grandkids soon. So I'll have to have them come talk to you and
it's
see
just
what they
about
want to do.
being fully informed, right? It's about researching everything. Research normal physiological birth because you can still have a midwife in a hospital. That's where oftentimes I feel like people
I've heard
fall.
that too.
Is they'll go to a midwife. McLaren Flint has some excellent midwives. I've done multiple births there with clients, and it's that middle ground where if you can't quite be comfortable being at home, you still have a midwife because an OB is a surgeon.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, there was a day where hospitals didn't exist. So for longer than we've had people born in hospitals,
they're born
there
at
were
home.
people born at home, outdoors, in
the
caves,
woods.
in the woods. Yeah. So it's not like, obviously, God created things to be done naturally. And,
Yep.
if he wanted hospitals to be there would have been around from the beginning. I believe that. So it's not that I'm like against it. Just we're so programmed.
Yep, that's what it is.
To think like this is what you do. Like you don't even really think about it. My wife's pregnant. We go to the doctor. We follow the schedule. We go to the hospital.
It's so infuriating to me.
Yeah.
Because I've done both.
Yeah.
Like I have my educational standpoint on it with my training, but I've personally experienced birth in both realms.
Yeah.
And have my own experiences that I would never wish the medical one on anybody.
Yeah.
The home birth one, I want every woman to experience that.
Experience it. Yeah, well, I mean, I think this is a great opportunity to introduce it to a lot of people, and maybe more people will try it. And I think if you're listening and you're curious, I think give Katie a call. I think she has a lot of resources that can help you. Obviously you got into this because you want to help people, and so what is it specifically? I mean, tell the audience and I know it's multiple things, but if you could say it in a paragraph, what do you wish to help people with?
True health. I just want them to get to the root cause of their issue and heal it so that they feel good. I myself used to be on 8 pharmaceuticals a day. I don't take anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because I got to the root of it and got my body back into balance. So I just want people to know that they can heal. Contrary to our programming and what we're taught, our bodies are so intricately designed. Find the right people to help you to get on the right path, and you can heal.
What about elderly people who are on all kinds of medication already? Like I have, my grandmother, when she finally passed, we lost her a couple years ago. She was on so many medications every day because she was in and out of the hospital 3 or 4 times a year. Like we really swear she had 9 lives because there was probably for 4 or 5 years, we're like, this is it. This is the last trip to the hospital. We always joke about every family Christmas for the last 10 years of my grandma's life. Everyone was like, we got to go to Christmas because this is grandma's last Christmas. But she was on so many meds, and my parents are on a lot of meds, just doctor prescribed, and they almost can't function without them. And so would you see someone like that? And is there a path for them once they've been on this for a while to help them come out of that? Or
I do see clients who are older or elderly that are on medications. Legally, I can't tell you what to do with those.
Sure.
You have to do that with your prescribing physician as far as getting on, taking off, changing dose, any of that. There's still natural modalities and supplements that are safe to take with medication.
Yeah.
So that's usually my approach in those cases. You can still do detoxes and cleanses and some other things, but typically at that point, just adding in more support, but they still feel 100 times better.
Sure.
You just have to be careful with that stuff.
It's I was, when my kids have this chicken pox, and I was just talking to my son last night because he's still my 15-year-old son is the one he's the only one that hasn't fully recovered yet. And I just said, I always think when I'm sick, every time I'm sick, I'm like, I'm never going to take for granted what it's like to feel good again. You're always like, I can't wait to feel good. I'm going to really appreciate it. Yep. There's nothing like feeling good, waking up and not being achy and sore and feeling healthy. There really is nothing like it.
There's not.
And I know you provide a lot of these resources on your social media, but recently your Instagram page got hacked. So what happened there?
I have no idea.
Just
I got the email, to notify me somebody else logged into my account in Nigeria, and I tried to get on and correct it, and it was all so fast. They changed my email, they changed my phone number.
Yeah, I got
I couldn't.
Did
you get a Bitcoin?
Bitcoin offer from you? So
yeah. Everybody did.
I lost all my money, thanks.
They were like,
the doctors recommended
everybody.
I do Bitcoin. I better do it right now.
No, that's not my jam. I had people message me on my new account. They're like, yeah, I knew that wasn't your vibe, so I didn't.
I knew too.
But I'm trying to get Instagram to shut it down. Obviously that's not working.
And they won't kick that person off. Like you should be able to recover the account, I would think. Because I know you started over. How many followers did you have? 2,000
something. No, I'm up to 300 almost.
That's tough to build on Instagram. Like building an Instagram audience is really tough. So, well, hopefully you can get that back. But there are some great resources there. I mean, that's really kind of how I learned about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's not like we don't necessarily hang out. We know each other, and we've had some, common friends. But I've just kind of been following what you're doing, and of course, my sister's talked a lot about it. So. Make sure you check out her socials, and we'll give you those here at the end of the podcast.
Cool.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I know those are some deep topics, and I think very important. I think anyone that's kind of in that position where they're like, I'm just tired of modern medicine and all the going through the motions. or struggling to get pregnant or whatever those things are, give Katie a call, have a consultation, no
Yep.
strings attached, just see what she has to say. And
Right. And starting with this first. Like, this should be everybody's first avenue.
yeah,
Not saying they might never have to go the medical route, but why not try this first?
Just
No
try it.
harm is going to be done.
yeah.
You're not going to lose anything.
Do you mind sharing on the show, like, what is the cost of that original consultation?
The initial consultation is $185, and then it's
Okay.
about 90 minutes, give or take. Some people, it takes a lot longer because there's a lot going on.
And what's involved with it? Is like an educational thing where you're teaching them what the natural, or it's really more about them specifically?
It's both, again, depending on the person. If people know nothing about what I'm doing, I'll give them the rundown of how we're going to go about it, but it's also different per person.
Yeah.
And then I have to know your whole life history, back to how you were born, because a C-section birth is different than a vaginal birth based
Sure.
on your gut microbiome for the rest of your life. Like, we have to go through everything.
We literally start at birth.
We do.
Literally start at birth. All right.
So it's a lot of talking.
Yeah. Sounds fun. I should come have a consultation, see if
really
we can
cool.
figure some things out.
I'll bet you we can.
Okay, so I always send all my guests a little questionnaire so we just get to know them as a person, because I think that sometimes, especially when you're in an industry like yours, people just immediately jump to whatever conclusion, and you lose the humanity of a person.
Yep.
We worked with we worked with a couple gubernatorial campaigns this year during the big governor's race of 2022, and it was amazing to me to see, like, the one guy that we worked with is someone that I became friends with over the last 2 years. I've seen him with his family, seen him with people. One of the most loving, caring dudes, just kind, really loves the country, just trying to do what he believes is right. Wouldn't harm a soul. Like, he's a chiropractor. He believes and he's a big health and wellness guy. One of the most inspiring people I've ever met, and just has been nothing but kind to me. And then to see the attacks that people would go at him online and towards his family, and the things they would say about his wife and his kids who they'd never met.
It's terrible.
It's like unbelievable to me, like how like they dehumanize somebody,
Yep.
And so part of what we try to do here is we want people to see the humanity of the person that, before you make a judgment call about somebody, even just this few minutes of us talking about, I can see in your eyes and hear in your voice the passion of why you do this. Yeah. This isn't just an entrepreneurial adventure to make money. This is something that you're very, very sincere and honest about. And my experience is you're a very sweet person, very genuine person. And so I think before anyone casts judgment on something, to get to know the person. And so we'll just go through these and kind of let people get a chance to get to know Katie Civille, as I know her before she was married. Yeah.
Yep.
But Dr. Katie O'Neill. So we asked the question, what is the favorite place you've ever been? St. Augustine, Florida. I think I know why, because you said you like the beach and the sunlight. It's a little hot in Florida.
Oh, it's
like
just
too
the
hot
best.
sometimes.
No, like 90. If it's colder than 80, I'm cold. Mm-hmm. So, no, it's
Colder
just,
than 80, you're cold.
Yeah, like down there in Florida, I don't even break out my shorts until it's above 90.
Holy cow.
I'm the girl in jeans and a hoodie at 80 degrees.
And you're very fair-skinned. So fair-skinned people, sometimes the sun is not their best friend.
Oh, I get super tan.
Do
But that's
ya?
also a natural health.
I don't
too.
get. I gotta limit my time in the sun. I'll start to burn.
Oh, no,
I gotta
love
go
it.
little stints here and
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Okay, random fact about you says you were a competitive dancer for 15 years.
Yep. Bohati's back in the day before it turned into Kim's Dance Dynamics.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Did that my whole life.
You
Traveled
were a dancer.
all over.
What kind of
Yep.
dance?
I did ballet, tap, and jazz.
Do you pick up the dance shoes, the day still?
I don't. I worked at Ashley's until
Ashley's a client of ours.
21. So I taught there until I was pregnant for my last son. So I was still doing it up until a year and a half ago.
So when's the last time you just cut a rug? Like you got on the dance floor and you just really
It's been a
let
long
it
time.
rip? Yeah.
It's been a long time.
So how old are your boys?
5 and 1.
5 and 1. Okay, so like as my boys got, my wife, she's a pretty good dancer. She's not like she was never like doing it, competitively or anything, but she's got moves.
Right.
So it's funny to see like as my boys start to learn, my wife likes to get out and show them how to do it. So that time will come when the boys are going to want to see if mom still got the moves.
Oh my God, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They kind of laugh at her because she'll pull out some of
I'm
the
sure.
90s dance moves, and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, this was the move,"
Love it.
If you were stranded on a desert island, had one CD to listen to forever, what would it be? You said
Nikki
Nikki
Heaton.
Heaton. I don't know if I know who that is.
I
does she
kind of
sing?
changed my mind on that. I mean,
Okay.
it's definitely
You're
still
allowed to do
her.
that.
But
It's
can I have a
forever.
mix CD? Is
A
that
mi-
an option?
We've had people ask that. You
like
know,
a
a
home
mixed
mix?
track.
Because that would really be.
Yeah, but no, we're limiting this to one CD.
Okay. Well,
you
then
know.
yeah, her.
So what does she sing?
I don't know how
What
to
kind of music?
describe her. It's all like acoustic guitar.
Okay.
And then she'll sing her like lullabies that she made. She's all about home birth, natural
gotcha,
birth.
I
She's
gotcha.
going to school to be a
So
midwife
you
now.
fit her vibe.
Yeah, we're just the same.
Your soul sisters.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally irrational fear. Dying.
Mm-hmm.
So you're one of these people that thinks about dying.
Yes, it terrifies me.
It's funny. Like I was telling someone the other day, like I've literally never had the thought in my life of dying. I never go into a situation thinking about what if I die? What if I fall off the cliff? What if I get into a car accident? Like my mind doesn't even go there. It's not a conscious thing. I just don't think about dying. But then you talk to people like they think about dying every day.
I'm not like
Like,
that, but
yeah.
if a conversation comes up about it, I'm like, that totally freaks me out.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear about things happening to people, just some freak accident. And I never thought, what if that happened to me? Or like,
It's mostly after
You
I
know?
became a mom, though. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's more like leaving my kids behind. type
sure.
thing. Like that
Now,
just
I
stresses
can
me
get
out.
on board with that. The thought of leaving my wife and kids without me, like, I've kind of set up a life that if I died, it would be really tough for my wife and kids to manage because, this business is a lot of me. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, now we're really developing a team that could
Right.
take the reins and run it. But there was a time where I'm like, man, if I die, my wife's going to be like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. But yeah, I know I can understand. And then the other thing you said is bugs, like all bugs, just any bugs.
Mostly cockroaches and spiders. Oh, well,
oh.
centipedes, too. Yeah, so
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, so things with lots of legs. You don't
Yes,
like,
it's the
yeah.
legs. It's the creepy. Ugh, I can't.
I had a very irrational fear of spiders for a long time. Like I saw that movie Arachnophobia when I was a kid. I don't know if you ever seen
Nope,
it.
not gonna.
But it just scarred me. And it's funny because growing up, we used to get bats in our house. Mm-hmm. And my dad, who, when you're a little boy, you think your dad is like
Right.
fearless,
Right.
So when you see your dad afraid of something at a young age, then you grow like that must be scary because
Right.
my dad's scared. And we get a bat and my dad would he'd put a blanket over his head and he'd hide, and my mom would get a tennis racket out and go after the bat. And it's the only time you just see that vulnerability in your dad. You're like, dude, bats must be like the
Right.
worst thing in the world, So I remember growing up with that, but my thing was always spiders. And I remember the first time when our boys were old enough, they were yelling in the room that there was a spider on the wall. And I said to my wife, I got to go kill the spider. She's like, you hate spiders. I'm like, I got to do it. I can't let the kids see me be afraid of this spider because it's going to make spiders worse for them for their whole life.
True.
Because then once I realized, bats are like mice with wings. Like, they're not that scary.
Right.
They just swoop at you, but, they're not that scary. But it took a long time. So I remember going in and just all right, I'm going to go in. And I took a slider and I killed the spider. I'm like, I'm the man. I walked out of that room feeling like these boys know nothing. Dad's not scared of nothing. But yeah,
Nope.
not a big bug person.
Nope. Not for me.
Favorite movie and TV show, John Wick. My oldest son, absolutely, he's obsessed
I'm
with John
obsessed,
Wick.
too.
He loves, and there's number 4's coming out here in a
I'm
month.
really excited.
Yeah, he's obsessed with John Wick, and he's like he'll have dreams that he's that guy. And he's
I
killing
did,
people.
too.
I'm like,
I mean, not
crazy.
like that.
No, he says
but-
violent dreams.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
son, it's a little crazy.
No,
but-
I think of that in, mom version protecting my children.
yeah, I love the story.
Yeah,
the
no, I
story.
really like
Keanu
those
Reeves to
movies.
me has just never been that inspiring of an actor. But he's kind of like Sylvester Stallone. I love the Rocky movies, but he's just not a
Yeah.
great actor.
Yeah.
But so they're good movies. And then the 100. What is the 100? Is that a game show?
No, it's these kids that are trapped up in space and their parents send them down after the end of the world and they have to
Where do you find this?
survive. It's on Netflix.
Really? Never heard of that one.
Mm-hmm.
One last meal. You said mashed potatoes with gravy, crispy chicken skin, honey glazed baked carrots, flan. So I said that right?
Mm-hmm, flan. Mm-hmm.
And a frozen coffee.
Yeah.
That's a variety of.
It's really weird.
Yeah, flan is
Yep.
like a dessert, right?
It's like a Mexican dessert. Mhm.
Yeah, it's got. Yeah, I know what it is.
Yep.
Honey glazed baked carrots. Who's making this meal? Who makes this meal
Well,
the best?
flan would be from a restaurant.
Yes.
My husband would have to make the carrots. He'd have to make the crispy chicken skin.
What is crispy chicken skin? Like you just eat the skin off the
I mean, I like all of it. I
Yeah.
like chicken, but
fried
like
chicken?
good baked chicken skin in the oven with whatever my husband does to it, with the salt and the garlic.
It's just
It's
it.
just like
Just
it's
does
just
it for
it.
you.
Like from the whole chicken, all that skin.
Okay.
So
I like
weird.
the skin too. I like
So
skin
weird.
too. You know, we'll have fried chicken and like my wife will peel the skin off, and I'm like, that's the best part. Like
You gotta
chicken
save it
is
for
just
last.
chicken. Yeah, so do I. Chicken is just chicken. That's what makes it taste good. But yeah. If you had, let's see, if you could have any job in the world, what would it be? You said what you're currently doing, just in a
Expand
bigger,
it.
expansive way. You want to get bigger and better, bring on more
people.
professionals. Yeah. If Hollywood made a movie about your life, who would you like to see cast as you? Nikki Heaton. Does she look like you?
No,
No.
not at all. That's why
No.
everyone's like, you need to do Lindsay Lohan.
But everyone else tell me Lindsay Lohan. I could see like a younger Lindsay Lohan
Yeah.
could see you. Like she's kind of turned into a little bit of a train wreck.
That's
but,
why I said
like
no.
in the younger days, like yes, I could totally see it. Yeah, yeah.
That's what my husband said, especially.
like
I'm
like in the
not
Mean
now.
Girls days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. What is your proudest moment or achievement? Your children in your home birth.
Yep.
So you say it's a proud achievement. Like, did you have, when you did the home birth your first time, did you have a little bit of the worries? And because you had done the first one in the hospital, you went to nursing school, you kind of knew this is the path. You decided to try this. Was there some of those nerves for you and your husband? Did you have some worries about it? Or
For the home birth,
yeah.
No.
Or were you just all in?
I was all in.
Okay. So there was no apprehension, like, is this the right thing? You just knew, like, this is what we're doing. And
100%. And my midwife, who, like I said, didn't end up being there because it was 2 hours and 40 minutes, the whole thing.
oh, wow.
The whole thing. And she lives in Ann Arbor. So that didn't work out. But
Yeah.
she was my doula teacher. She was my mentor. Like, we're really, really close. And then she was my midwife. So I was just solid.
Yeah, just, you were there.
I
Was
was
your
just
husband
solid.
there? Was he a little nervous?
He was kind of there until we realized that it was going to be us.
Yeah.
And there was going to be nobody there.
Sure, that's my fear. Like, that's like, okay, now it's just us. I got to help deliver this thing. You do it
So-
like in a tub?
I just had him standing up in the shower.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, see, like, I would, be,
In our bathroom's like this tiny little.
I would be freaking out. Like, I would be panicking in that moment because, like I said, I'm about as even keeled as they come. But like, when it comes to something like I
Morgan
think
came. She showed up to
Oh,
watch
did she?
Timmy.
Oh wow.
She was there.
Yeah, I think the only time that I really panic is when something goes wrong and I have no idea how to fix the situation.
Right.
If I feel like I can jump in and help,
Yeah.
I'm good. But if I feel like, dude, I'm way out of my league here, that's when I start to panic. So that'd be a tough one for me. But
No, he was
kudos to your
solid.
husband.
He did great.
One wish besides unlimited wishes, what would it be? He said to build a massive holistic community and get humanity back to the roots of health.
Absolutely.
So is that like the vision you have for this thing? So where do you guys work out of right now?
We're down. Our office is 612 West Main Street, so it's right next to Domino's, across the street from
Okay.
McDonald's. So right in
Okay.
between, the
Yeah.
two things people shouldn't necessarily eat all the time.
Yeah, yeah. You're like trying to catch them between visits
Right,
to Domino's
right.
and McDonald's.
Right.
Well, good luck to you. I think that, we just talked to Dakota Woodworth on our podcast. And we were talking a lot about passion. Like, he just opened Round Midnight Records. And when you hear him talk about music, like, you just hear the passion in his voice.
Yeah.
Like, he's the guy for that.
Yep.
I would not be the guy for that. I'm not
Oh,
that
no.
passionate about music. And so part of like what gets you through and helps you really build something that can last and that can grow is when you have passion about it. Because sometimes being an entrepreneur is just hard. It sucks. Sometimes you think, I just gonna go get a job. I'm just gonna do something else. Like, this is difficult. And what pushes you through those moments is the passion. Like, you see it in my wall there when you walk in. It says, "Remember why you started."
Love that.
That was the first piece of art that I ever designed for my offices. I made it huge so that I had to look at it every day when I came in. When we got our first offices, that's what I had done. And I hang it where I see it when I walk in the mornings, because a business can take you where you never wanted to go. It can also take you where you always wanted to go. And so there are lots of opportunities that come your way that may be lucrative, but maybe take you off the path of why you started the whole thing. And I never did this to get wealthy, to become famous, to become a world-renowned podcaster, to get any kind of credit. I did this for 3 very specific reasons. I worked in hospitality which meant it's 24/7, and I missed out on so much when my kids were young. So number one, I did this to have the freedom to be able to be with my family when I need to be and when I want to be. I have a mission statement for my life, which says to be happy and to spend as many days as possible doing the things that I love. And so for me, if I get an opportunity that will take that away from me, even if it means I get a bigger bank account, I don't want to do that because I want to remember why I started this whole thing.
Yep.
The other thing is because I am very passionate about my ministry is at church, helping people understand why I believe the things that I believe. And so give me the opportunity to be involved in those things and giving back to those things was the other reason why I really, really wanted to do this. And then lastly is I wanted to prove to myself that I had made lots of money for other people, like millions of dollars for other people.
Oh my goodness.
And I wanted to prove to myself that I could do something that not just for me, but for my family and, generations to come. Because our family has kind of always struggled. We've always been very blue collar, factory workers, construction workers, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
But I wanted to create some, generational wealth for my family, that my kids, not that I don't want them to work for it, but that they would come up understanding that if you work hard for something, you can have it. And so for me, I want to, when I come in the doors, I want to remember that. And so I tell that story because I can see and hear, I've said this before already, I can see and hear the passion in you. And on those days when you feel like this is too much, the arrows are coming from online, somebody, didn't take your advice and they blame you for it, and something didn't go right, or, the bills pile up and you're like, how am I going to pay payroll this week? How am I going to pay the mortgage? Those things happen. I mean, people
more often than not.
People perceive like success and they don't know what it's like. And so those days when it's like, dude, I'm done. That's when the passion pushes you to remember why you started it. Let that drive you and just keep pushing forward.
That's the only thing that's kept me going at hard time. Because it's gone through my mind. Like, I'm just done.
Sure.
I'm just done.
And it will again.
I'm just done. This is too hard.
Yeah.
I'm missing these little times with my kids when they're so young. Like, just all those things have rolled through my mind.
Right.
But it's the passion.
And that's why I'm a big believer that if you're doing anything just for the money, it will fade. It will not push you through unless you have so much money to push you through it. Like, I don't need to worry about this.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I've never met a person that said their money is what made them happy.
Yep.
Now, money can buy you a lot of things and a lot of comfort and a lot of freedom. And
for sure.
If you want to have time, it requires money.
Yep.
So, there is a correlation.
Yep.
But if your only motivation is money, when it becomes tough, you'll go do something else.
Oh, I would have already quit for sure. Yeah.
If it's the passion that really drives you, that's what helps you push through it. And then the money becomes a byproduct of that. Okay. So you have your phone with you?
Just right over there.
Okay. I'll just show you on my phone. Okay. We have this segment called Explain That Post. So I did a deep dive on your social media. Not too incriminating, but I found this photo from way back in the day. Also has Morgan in it. That I feel like needs a little more context and explanation. So the audience can see this. Let them know what's going on in this picture right here.
Where did you even find
this? This was on your Facebook page. This was you and Morgan,
we're in Florida.
You're in Florida,
so
you're in St. Augustine?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's already, one step in the right direction. You're not at the beach.
No, we're
you
in
look
my
like maybe
grandma's house.
Slightly inebriated, maybe.
Nope, we were actually totally sober in
just
that
having
picture.
Fun.
Yep, we were just dorks. That was.
So are these grandma's? Oops, I crapped my pants.
They must have been, because that's my grandma's house. In her addition, they were taking care of my step grandpa's elderly mother, and that was like her mother-in-law's suite.
Okay.
So I guess we were bored. I remember that night
Found
vividly.
some diapers.
We were looking through the cupboard and barely decided they should go on our foreheads.
Let's put diapers on our forehead, and then it's not real if you don't post it on social media, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's
looks like
hilarious.
That looks like a fun time. Morgan, if you're watching, you got some screen time on this one with the diaper on your head. So, good job.
I totally forgot about that. Good old days.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how you got to this place, how you got to this profession. You're born and raised right here in Owasso, right? So you went to nursing school.
Yep.
Where did you go to nursing school?
Baker.
Okay. And did you finish?
Nope.
No, you decided that it wasn't for you. But you learned a lot.
Yeah.
So what was life a little bit, what was life before Holistic Beginnings? Like I know you said you were a dancer. I know you were a server at
Ashley's.
server at Tanglewood. You said you got fired.
Yeah, I worked there
We were
a few
trying to
different
figure
times.
out if it was me that fired you, and it wasn't.
No,
me.
it was not. It was not. It was the chef.
And we can't figure out who the chef was.
No, I
It
got
had to be
fired,
before
but I
my
also
time.
worked there and quit, and I waitressed at Jumbo's, and I waitressed someplace. I was just kind of all over. Nothing was fulfilling me.
Yeah.
So I was just working to make money, to get money to pay for my bills.
Yeah, I think when you're young, try different things.
Yeah.
Like see what sticks. I think, we talk about pressure. Like we put pressure on kids. Like by the time you're 17, you need to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life, and then go spend $200,000 to figure out that's not what I wanted to do. What kid at that age really knows what they want to do?
I had
forever?
no idea.
I would have never thought when I was 18 that I'd be doing this. So I think go try different things, have experiences, be open. You're going to have
Yes.
life experiences that change how you feel about things.
Yes.
If there was a time in your life where this stuff probably meant nothing to you.
Oh, I was actually one of those people who called what I am now crazy and quacky and ignorant and causing danger to people. Well, I was in nursing school, actually.
Yeah.
And then I did that total. So I really
Total
have a
180.
good perspective of everybody's views because I've really played
The gamut.
all of it.
Yeah, Zach and I actually have talked about this in the past. Like he's early 20s, and like there's things that I have in my life that I'm passionate about now that when I was his age I could care less about. And he's probably at a point where there's things that he just like that doesn't mean anything to me right now. But then those life experiences as you try things and things impact you or negatively or positively, it changes kind of how you feel about things. And
Absolutely.
And as you grow, I don't know if you've ever studied Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But as you grow older, or not even older, but more mature, I guess, because it happens at different ages for everybody, your needs change. The things that are important to you change. As you get to my age, like, the things that are important to me now are family and security and legacy and future and belonging, sense of self. Like, I didn't care about any of that crap when I was, young. And so I think it's important for youth to go out and, see what they like, see what they enjoy.
For sure.
And it's the easiest time in your life to fail at something.
Yep.
Because you have the least amount of bills or least amount of people depending on you.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So what was it then that ultimately drew you to this type of work? Like where you just said, okay, I don't see a solution. I got to become part of the solution and I'm going to do this thing. What was it?
Super long story short, because that could be a whole podcast in itself. My son's birth. What I went through in that medical model for my pregnancy, being told terrible, awful things, with his quality of life, possibly that I should go get an abortion. It's not going to be worth having him because he's going to be so genetically mutated and blah, blah, blah. That was so traumatic. His birth was traumatic. And then I was trying to find answers in the early postpartum days and got no help. So was Googling, found a naturopathic doctor, took him there. And in our first meeting, our first appointment, I knew
This is it.
this is what I need to do. She completely saved his life, changed my life forever, obviously inspired me for my whole career.
Yeah.
So it was in that moment for sure.
That's incredible. And so you turned that experience, we just talked about that, life experience, into something that became a passion, and now it's turning into something that's become your career.
Yep.
So how did you start? Like, was it just you taking phone calls for people? Like, yeah, how did you get to the point where okay, I'm going to have an office and I'm going to see people and do consultations and blood work? Like, how did you start the whole thing?
Started, like I said, stole my son's nursery and started working out of my house, just like family,
Yeah.
People who just, it was actually my assistant now, Grace, her and her parents, because I knew them from teaching at Ashley's.
Yeah.
They started seeing me, and then it was just word of mouth. And then it started to spread to people who I didn't know, and I wasn't comfortable having them come to my house with my son. So then I started renting from my dad, and then it just really took off. The word of mouth and has really been the only reason. And my social media. I mean,
Yeah.
now I have clients in Germany. I have clients in other
incredible.
states because we do virtual and in person. So you don't have to live in Owasso. Actually, most of my client base is not in Owasso.
Yeah.
They drive. My farthest driving person right now is 3 hours.
Wow. I think you should do a podcast. I think an educational podcast,
Yeah.
you know, maybe weekly or monthly, where
Right.
you're doing little episodes, giving educational tips and introducing people to this world, because it's so contrary to the mainstream
It is.
narrative. And
So much unknown. People don't understand it at all.
not only do people not understand it, but I think people are afraid of it, or
Yep.
afraid to even entertain it because
Yep.
of what comes with it. So I think, you know, a podcast that really was a educational tool.
Yeah.
It not only would promote the lifestyle, but it would, you know, probably promote what you're doing. And, you know, as you become an expert in these things, or able to share your expertise, people then grow trust. And so I just, as I'm listening to you talk, I think that would be a cool podcast that people would like. And if you need help with that, you know, we can help produce that as well.
That'd be really cool.
So, yeah. So let's have a conversation about that.
Okay.
So, you know, as we're winding down here, every entrepreneur has some kind of a journey, something, some things that they've learned along the way that certainly will be a help to other people in their journey, whether it's starting a business, changing a career, trying something new. What are some of the things that you've learned, maybe mistakes you've made, or lessons learned, or inspirational thoughts that would help somebody else who's maybe considering doing something that they're passionate about?
That's a tough one because I feel like I'm still in that learning
Of course, you always are. I am too.
phase. You know, you just gotta start. You just gotta start because things are always going to shift and change. And once you think you figured something out, you're going to have gone to the next growth spurt, and it's going to change again. So, you know, I think as long as you're passionate, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You just really got to find that. Because I was just so lost into, I mean, this is totally my passion. It's down to my core. Absolutely. There's no
Yeah.
question about it. That just
That drives
makes
it all.
everything else
Yeah.
fall into alignment.
Well, the other canvas hanging up on the wall there is a quote by my mother that says, "You can't and never could until you tried." I end every episode, 95 or 96 episodes, however many we've done, I end every episode with that quote, because as a child, I was like very competitive. And when I wasn't doing well at something, like I would, like, if it was a video game, I'd throw controllers. If it was basketball, I'd get mad and kick the ball. Like, and sometimes I'd just be like, I'm not doing this anymore. And my mom would always like, you can't and never could until you tried, and really define what trying means. It's not just like dipping my toe in
Right,
the water. Like,
right.
really give it a try.
Right.
You know, you can try. Sometimes, my wife's a picky eater, so sometimes I'm like, hey, just try this. Well, I don't like shrimp or whatever it is. Well, just try this. Is really good. I don't like it. And so then she'll just give a little nibble. Yeah, I don't like it. Like, I'm like, you didn't even try it, right?
Right.
And that's what a lot of people do is they
Yes.
think, oh, I dipped my toe in the water and I didn't
Yes.
like it. Well, and we just talked about this on the last podcast. Like, Michael Jordan, the first time he picked up a basketball, he sucked at basketball. So the first time you try something, you're not going to be good at it. It's going to take time.
Yes.
But you can't until you try. And so determine, what is it that I'm going to try? Again, I think something that you're passionate about will help. But then really give it a try. And then if after a real sincere try, you realize this isn't for me, then you can live with that. But don't be the person that's guilty of, just dipping your toe in the water. Like, jump in, full cannonball, give it a try.
You have to.
And see what works.
For sure.
So in your opinion, what do you think sets successful people apart from unsuccessful people?
I feel like I'm getting repetitive, but your passion, your drive, your grit.
Yeah.
I mean, with doing this, you have to have grit. Because if you're just going to fall back the first time somebody says something, you're not going to make
Right.
it, because
Right.
they're going to say stuff. It doesn't even have to be something controversial like what I do. Just
Yep.
anything.
Yeah.
People, there's always going to be people who have something negative to say, and you just have to keep pushing, keep your drive going.
One day at a time.
Yep.
One day at a time.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you sharing those things, with sharing your journey. I think it's exciting what you're doing. Like I said, I shared like some of the things I don't fully understand or get, but I love it when
Yep.
somebody has a passion about something,
Yep.
and they're pushing for it and doing it. I think, to me, as I'm just listening, I think one of the keys to this is education.
Absolutely.
people need to learn about this stuff and alleviate those fears. So again, I'm gonna say it again. Like, I think you should consider trying, and it could just be an audio podcast, even if you want,
Right.
which is much easier to produce. But
Right.
putting out there into the world,
I've been asked to do that
yeah,
a few times.
even if it's a 5 minute,
I could just give little, because there's so many pieces. Like I was even thinking about today, I'm like, we're going to cover this much.
Yeah.
'Cause
I don't feel like we've tipped the iceberg.
No, there's
Yeah.
so much. It's endless. So yeah, that's
You would
probably
have
a really
all
good
kinds
idea.
of things. And part of the podcast could just be talking about experiences you had with
Right.
people. You don't have to use names, but I had a patient
Oh,
come
I
in.
had
and
really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be very interesting. I think people that are obviously already all in would love it.
Yep.
And I think people that are not there would give people that are all in a resource to say, hey, listen to this gal, this doctor. She knows what she's talking about.
I think so too.
And I just kicked the camera, so I hope I didn't kick you out of frame. But so what we try to end the show with, we have the Whisper Challenge. You know what this is, right? Are you
Yeah.
willing to do the Whisper Challenge?
Yep.
Okay, good. We're going to do that. But before that, we like to squeeze the last ounce of wisdom that we can out of our guest, and we do what's called Say It in 60. We
Okay.
put 60 seconds on the clock. We ask 10 rapid-fire questions, and we just want your answer. So there's no wrong answer, but you just got to
Okay.
get through it in 60 seconds. So,
Okay.
Zach, you got a timer for me? 1 second. He'll have 60 seconds.
Okay.
And we're just going to rapid fire them. So don't give it too much thought. But whatever you say is on the internet forever. So
Time starts now.
all right. What is a must-read book?
Dissolving illusions.
What is a daily habit that everyone should do?
Drinking structured, filtered, remineralized water.
I would like to try some of that. What is your favorite podcast?
This one.
That's awesome. Michigan or Michigan State?
State.
What is your why?
My children.
Apple or Android?
Can I go back to pen and paper?
You sure can. What is your favorite quote?
Don't let the amount of time that it's going to take to achieve your dreams stop you, because that time's going to pass anyway.
Beautiful. What is a must-binge TV series?
The 100.
All right, last 10 seconds to tell the audience, what is success to Katie?
When you're living the life that you don't have to take a vacation from.
Ooh, I love that. Living the life. 1 second to spare. Round of applause. Living the life that you don't have to take a vacation from. I want to live that life.
Me too.
Yeah, every day feels like a vacation. Well, most days.
Yeah.
I told somebody the other day, they said, you really love what you do, don't you? I said, yeah. And, there's that saying is if you do what you love, you never have to work another day.
Yep.
And I don't know that that's 100% true. Because
Right.
there are still days where work sucks. Yeah. It's just work. But I have a lot more days that don't feel like work than I do that do feel like work. And so don't have the illusion that, well, I'm never going to have a hard day again, because that's just,
No.
that's not gonna, but, the hard day it passes. And, again, that passion that you have drives you through. So, all right, let's move on to the final segment, the Whisper Challenge, and
Okay.
then we'll let you plug Holistic Beginnings to the camera here. But Zach over there has some cards for us to draw from. Do we want to do 2 rounds or 3? You get to pick.
I don't know.
You have to say an answer.
3?
All right, 3. This is the other great thing about podcasts is, people get to see the behind the scenes. Doesn't have to be polished.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Now your mind's going, isn't
I
it?
know. I need to. It's already going too
Yeah.
many places.
Yeah. I think it will help. It's really.
Ready?
Oh, God.
Can you hear me? Okay. 2 words.
2 words.
Ready? Stress eating.
Try again.
Stress eating.
Trusting.
No. First word. Stress.
Dress.
Stress.
Stress.
Stress eating.
Stress eating.
Stress eating. Yes, you got it.
Dress. Trust. I don't know.
It's tough. Like, if he picks a song that I'm really into, it's really hard for me to focus.
It's the
Get
music.
into the lyrics.
Yeah.
Crank it up, Zach. Oh. Wow.
Ready? 2 words.
2 words.
Home birth.
Open. Open.
Home.
Hope.
Home.
Hope.
Home.
Hope.
Home.
Home. Home.
Birth.
Home birth. Home birth. M and P are always tough because it looks
This
like
so-
home.
I
hope.
know.
It's the same lip movement.
Home. Okay.
All right.
Oh God.
He's a good DJ. 2 words.
2 words.
Are we playing? Okay. True health.
True something.
Okay. First word.
True.
Yep. Health.
Health.
True health. She got it. Wow. She nailed it. All right. Good job. You're good at lip reading.
I'm actually a master lip reader. The music's really throwing me off.
Oh, you are?
I am. That's my secret.
Oh, I am not.
1 word.
A little Kanye.
1 word.
I'm really into the song right now because this is going to be really tough.
Midwife.
Hold on. Let me focus. I got to. It's a banger.
Midwife. Midwife.
Pig? Pig something. Big. Big.
No.
Big.
Midwife. Midwife.
Big. Baby.
Midwife.
Okay. Is it 1 word? Okay. Do it again.
Midwife.
Big. Something.
Midwife.
Is it M? Is it M?
Huh?
Are you doing an M? So the first letter is M.
Yes.
So it's not big.
No.
Okay. So give me
Midwife.
midwife.
Yes.
Midwife. Okay.
I'm like pregnant, baby, charades.
I
don't
know about that big. I was thinking big, and this was like throwing like you're not saying belly. Are you writing another one?
Yeah, 1 more.
Oh, 1 more round. All right. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm usually freakishly good
There
at
are
this.
some times where a song, like the words just got me. Like I get caught up
The
in it.
music makes it way harder.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not.
Music's coming in.
Coming in hot.
It's super. Oh, there it is. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. Are we ready? 2 words.
2 words.
Private school.
Private tour?
Close. First word, private.
Private?
Second word, school. School.
Private tool?
Close. Private school.
Private school.
Private school.
She is pretty good.
Master.
Without the music, I'm really.
Master lip
That
reader.
is this ghetto banging stuff. Really throwing me off. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Ghetto banging. Okay, 1 word. I mean 2 words.
What? 2
2
words.
words. 2 words. 2 words. Lindsay Lohan.
Listen. First word, listen.
No.
No?
Lindsay.
Listen.
Lindsay.
Listen. It.
Lindsay Lohan.
So it's L, right? The first letter is L. Okay.
Lindsay Lohan. Red hair.
How is it not listen?
Lindsay.
Listen. It's not. It is listen. You are saying listen.
Lindsay. Lindsay.
Let's say
Lindsay Lohan.
Lohan. Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. Yes.
Okay. I saw Lohan. The first one,
Red
I'm
hair.
telling you, it was listen. Like, that's all I could see was listen.
Lindsay.
All right. Well,
That is cool.
thank you
That is
so
fun.
much for being my guest today. Thank you for sharing this experience. I'm excited to see what happens with your journey and how this thing goes. I'm excited for the
We're growing.
Holistic Beginnings podcast. It's going to be awesome. I will be a subscriber and I'll listen if there's anything we do to help you get that started.
Yeah, for sure.
We would love to be a part of that with you. I think there's a need for it. I think again,
so, too.
education on this topic is important because
100%.
there's so many people that just don't know.
Nope.
And as Biggie said, if you don't know, now you know, right?
And there's something for everybody.
So that can be the name of the podcast. If you don't know, now you know.
probably a really good
I
idea.
could see a really good intro with that song, and like it could
I think
be.
you're onto something
it could
here.
be sweet, yeah.
I think you're onto something.
Well, before we go,
Yep.
I want to have you an opportunity to look into the camera and plug Holistic Beginnings, and also give us a little talk about Tox Free Tots and what that is,
Okay.
and how people can find it,
Okay.
and what they can expect to see there, and all that good stuff. So plug away.
Okay. So Holistic Beginnings is at 612 West Main Street here in Owasso, right next to Domino's, across the street from McDonald's. You can find us at our website, holisticbeginningsllc.com. There you can find our services, everybody who works there. And then you can find us at Holistic Beginnings LLC _ I'm trying to remember the new Instagram handle because I had to change that.
If they look up Holistic Beginnings, they'll
You
find
should
it.
be able to find it. And then Holistic Beginnings, we're on Facebook as well. And like I said, consultations, massage, all different types of body work you can find there. And in the same building is Tox Free Tots. So that's our Morgan and I's non-toxic children's boutique. But it really has things for the whole family. So you can stop in to Holistic Beginnings and see Tox Free Tots during our business hours, which are Tuesday and Wednesday, 10 to 5, and then Thursday, 10 to 7, hopefully expanding those soon. You don't have to be a client. Anybody can pop in at any time because we have supplements, personal care products, shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant, all sorts of things. So you can come in and check it out.
All right. So if you are one that frequents McDonald's and Domino's,
I'm watching.
stop. She's got her eye on you. Go into Holistic Beginnings. She'll help you get off the sauce.
Go to
the
Bang&
pizza
Bowls.
sauce. I love Bang & Bowls. So you can help people get off the Domino sauce, right?
On
And
occasion,
and the
it's
Big
not
Mac
a big
sauce.
deal.
And the Big Mac sauce.
McDonald's is pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't ever eat at McDonald's.
I don't eat McDonald's.
But I don't have the healthiest
I'm definitely
diet
not
either.
perfect. You don't have to be perfect.
I'm
You just can't eat that every day.
Far from perfect when it comes to diet, but I actually eat like once a day. That's my problem. Like I don't eat all day,
Yeah.
and then I'll go home, and it's just like hunting time, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, yeah, so not healthy for you. Well, again, thanks a lot for sharing this. I want to hear more. I want to learn more. There's
Yeah.
no way we could cover it all.
Absolutely not. No.
But we'll learn more as the new podcast starts. Thank you all for watching. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.